Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Politics. I'm your host, Bub. Let's get right to it. TikTok is in the news. It seems as though users are abandoning TikTok after censorship issues ramp up. From what I understand, based upon this issue with TikTok in it losing its users, is that there are the privacy policy concerns. There are the terms of use. There is also AI regulations and enhanced data collection. Though it's been mentioned that all social media platforms collect data on its users. However, they're saying that TikTok is more extreme. Um, there's a lot behind what's going on with TikTok, as we all know, or as we should know. TikTok was purchased, almost parceled off parts of it to the United States from China. This was done under the guise or uh, the excuse that it was a national security issue. So China ended up saying selling part of the TikTok business to United States. So what a lot of people don't realize is that TikTok has a different platform for the United States. It is separate from the original TikTok. They have a TikTok. Trump and his cohorts have went Trump, Paul Ellison, and others have went and bought TikTok, and it's specifically let's label it TikTok USA. Uh, Now, along with this purchase, there are a lot of changes taking place. And again, I mentioned those changes, but there's a lot more behind the scenes about this TikTok issue. And you'll believe it when you hear who's basically behind the purchase of TikTok and why they have TikTok as part of their assets, or why they own it now. I have a clip I want to share with you. This clip is from the Kim Iverson show. Very informative as well as educational. This piece is, again, I think it's something worth listening to. And that's the thing. That's what we do here. We like to bring information and education about politics or what goes on in the world to those listeners or viewers of this channel, which is All Things Politics, so that they can be informed as to what is going on in the world and how what's going on can affect you in your everyday life. Okay. So this is, again, a clip from the Kim Iverson show, recorded a day or so ago. Pretty insightful.
Well, it's been 1 week since Larry Ellison, ultra-Zionist, one of the largest donors to the IDF, has taken over TikTok. The U.S. government, under Joe Biden, signed a law that basically forced TikTok to carve out the U.S. audience and sell it so that the Chinese couldn't control it. TikTok was developed by ByteDance, a Chinese company.
So that's what I was mentioning initially. So U.S. bought part of TikTok from ByteDance. And the part of TikTok they bought deals exclusively with the U.S. Market. Those in the United States who go to the platform who have been using the platform for some period of time now. You'll get to why they brought this thing. But first, before we get to that, in case a lot of you don't know, Larry Ellison, all right? What they say, cold piece of joke. Larry Ellison is the owner of, I think it's Oracle. I think he created Oracle. Yeah. He was the founder of Oracle anyway. Chief executive chairman, chief technology officer of the corporation as well. The guy is worth pretty penny. Ellison owns approximately 41% of Oracle. Okay. What I think this involves, as far as Ellison goes, is not necessarily to bring TikTok more into the mainstream for US users, but to more so censor TikTok or its users in terms of what they put over the airwaves of social media. It's astonishing, and I'm going to continue to let them talk.
U.S. government said, well, that's a national security threat. We don't want the Chinese owning the largest social media platform on earth and influencing our young children. And so Joe Biden signed into law that TikTok had to sell the U.S. portion of it. That has then Donald Trump came into office. He allowed the sale to happen to one of the biggest supporters of Israel, Larry Ellison. And now it's all been said and done. And
that's the part I think we need to pay attention to. Larry Ellison is a supporter of the Zionist regime, Israel. So there's more to the story than meets the eye. For whatever reason, they felt threatened, I think, about TikTok's reach. How many people were on the platform? A whole lot of people, actually. So the word TikTok was being used to get the word out about the Palestinian/Israeli issue. All right. I think that's part of it. There's more to the story.
And TikTok, it's official. There is a TikTok US version run by an entirely different CEO, owned by Larry Ellison and others like him. And US users are reporting lots and lots of censorship. Let me just show you some of that censorship. One thing that people noticed was that they couldn't even private message Epstein, the word Epstein, to people. If you private message Epstein, this is the message that popped up. This message may be in violation of our community guidelines and has not been sent to protect our community. If you believe this was a mistake, let us know so we can review this along with recent messages. This is just a private message. You can't even talk to your friends on TikTok about Epstein with the new TikTok that has happened. And the whole thing is so bizarre that, we said, oh, well, we're trying not to be China. We're trying to defeat China. We're nothing like China. China controls its population. China censors its population. And now the U.S. has a special version of TikTok that no one else in the world has. The rest of the world has the main version of TikTok. And us in the U.S. get this special censored version.
Again, that's what I was trying to impart to the people, that U.S. has taken a bit of TikTok that pertains only to the United States. All right. They said they didn't want China having this corporation or this media thing going on TikTok in the country because it represented or it posed a national security threat. And China, it oppresses its people. It doesn't have free speech, blah, 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 blah. Come to find out, America gets TikTok. And what do you think they do? Immediately, they start censoring the platform. There's one example right here, Free Palestine. You can't do that. You can't look up Epstein. There's more.
And that's how we defeated China. It's amazing that under Chinese control, we had more freedom of speech on TikTok than we do now. Here's another one. This comment was removed. Somebody put a comment saying Free Palestine. That was removed on TikTok. Also, if you say Free Luigi, like Luigi Mangione, that was also removed. Ben and Jerry's, this was like a video and this content was removed. So Ben and Jerry's and they're very pro-Palestine, also being censored. This woman, she's a Palestinian journalist. She had, I believe, 1.4 million followers on TikTok, and she was permanently banned. Now, they have since restored her account, but this is what was going on. This had been going on for days. I mean, suddenly Larry Ellison gets control of TikTok, and they want to go and they want to censor as much speech as they possibly can. Here's Guy Christensen saying that he posted all these videos. He has hundreds of thousands of followers. We're about ready to talk to Guy here in just a second. He's going to be on the show. And he'd made all these videos and they have 0 views. You can see 0 views. So even if you weren't being banned, they were still allowing your content on the platform. They just made sure no one saw it. So that's what we call shadow banning. Some people say shadow banning is a conspiracy theory. Well, conspiracy theory proven to just be
You can call it shadow banning or whatever you want. To me, it's censorship. Plain and simple. It's censorship. I think that's part of the problem with the world. We tend to use words that don't make sense when you already have words that speak to the same thing and make more sense. Censorship is censorship. shadow ban. No, I get it, but no, censorship.
A conspiracy and not a theory. And that's what's happened to Guy Christensen here. Let me just show you. This is the new TikTok CEO. His name is Adam Presser. Previously, he was the head of operations of trust and safety for TikTok. He's now been elevated to CEO of TikTok. But this was him about a year ago talking to the this is some sort of a Jewish organization. I don't think it's like the World Jewish. Yeah, okay, he was talking at the World Jewish Congress. And this is what he had to say about what they were doing on TikTok. Now, remember, he's now CEO, so this is even amped up more. Watch this.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against.
Now, if that isn't censorship, I don't know what is, okay? But not only that, now here we go with those people dictating how or what we can say, or labeling what we say as hate speech, So you got to start wondering where we get a lot of these laws and policies talking about hate speech, where they come from, especially with that 3-letter league, their hand is in some of everything. And as we all know, should pay attention to, they run social media. Period, point blank. They run social media. So therefore, in due time, anything that we would like to say or want to say about an issue anywhere around the world, it's at risk of being censored. It's at risk of being censored. And if you continue to just censor people like what they're doing here, then that is or could be construed as a violation of someone's First Amendment rights. I wonder how long it's going to take for this to reach the Supreme Court. Wow. You can't say Zionists. You can't say Epstein. You can't say Free Palestine. But I guarantee you can use the N-word. Bet you that. You can use almost any other derogatory, disrespectful term for any ethnicity except for that one. Censorship.
Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity.
Oh, okay. So now you can't say, and this is when, TikTok people were being censored when he was the head of operations of trust and safety. And because we could trust him, here he is saying you can't even say Zionist. You can't call somebody a Zionist if they are a Zionist. You can only say it if you're a proud Zionist, but you can't say somebody's a Zionist in a derogatory way, even though many of us view it as a very derogatory thing to be.
But just, it boggles the mind what's going on in the world, the things we see or we hear being put before the people of the world. It makes no sense. It's okay for them to call themselves Zionists if you're talking about love for whatever that is, but it's not okay for someone else who's not a Zionist to say Zionist. These are the politics of the world. In fact, this is an example of geopolitics making its way into the United States of America. And it's almost, it's the same as you can't say things that, in fact, if you say Zionist, then it's pretty much going to be labeled as anti-Semitic. That word in and of itself, how they apply it makes no sense. So, but go figure. I can't say Zionist. I'm not a Zionist. I can't say Zionist, though, on the social media platform.
You're not allowed to do that. And guess what? We banned 3 times the number of accounts. Look at how great we are because they were spewing hate speech, particularly anti-Semitism, which anything that is against the state of Israel has been labeled as anti-Semitism.
Right.
And now this guy's the CEO. So this is causing a mass exodus on TikTok. People are realizing we're no longer safe here, at least not in the United States. And it's a bummer for US audiences.
How did it get to the point where we're supposed to have a constitution where in this constitution, the number one article in it is the freedom of speech? Now, how has it then become an issue to not say what you want to say or be labeled anti-Semitic, and in a lot of ways be persecuted? Maybe not in a court of law, maybe not in civil court or criminal court, but be persecuted none the same, be prosecuted, excuse me, none the same, not in the area of public opinion, but through those corporations or businesses or what have you that are ran by those people. You know, there's still a prosecution going to take place. You know, it's crazy. It boggles the mind to understand and come to know that this is going on in the country. You know, the country has been bought and paid for.
It's because TikTok is the biggest social media platform in the world. US audiences are unable to basically participate in this because our government keeps us free because we're a free people, something along those lines. Well, now there's a mass exodus. People are just not having it, and they are deleting their accounts. Many users are deleting their accounts, and they're moving to a new platform called Upscroll. And I will just...
And I'm glad she mentioned that. I heard of this new platform that's going to take the place of TikTok. I'm very sure of it. Called Upscroll. Okay. For those of you who are tired of TikTok's games, go check out Upscroll. Give it a look. I'm pretty sure it will surpass, you know, TikTok or the users, how many users that applied to TikTok or was on TikTok. Upscroll is gonna do way better than TikTok because they don't have any censorship policies.
Say for us here on the Kim Iverson Show, our TikTok following was never growing. I don't really promote TikTok much. It's a very young audience, typically Gen Z. And so, I had a very modest TikTok following, very little. But over the course of 24 hours, I believe, or maybe even 48 hours, our Upscrolled account surpassed our TikTok following.
So there that is. That's actually something to consider. Again, there is a platform that we can replace, the people, the citizens of the United States can replace TikTok with. It's called Upscroll. All right. And as far as the information goes, it is not a platform that censors its users. Now, of course, taking into consideration that some things will have to be censored, like people wanting to kill themselves, or people telling people to kill themselves, those types of things, that's a given. That's a given. But when they are talking about something other than, or when they're talking about American citizens not being able to exercise their First Amendment right, that's an issue. So go into the comments and tell me what you think about this issue. TikTok is losing to censorship. This is All Things Politics. I'm your host, Bub. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We would appreciate it very much if you did so. Have a great day. Take care of yourself and others.